Hey guys, what's going on? Theron Shan here. Welcome to another Theron's Theorycrafting videos. So, as I'm sure everybody knows, 3.9 is about to drop into the PTU at some point within the next 15 days or a couple of weeks or so, right? And along with the drop of 3.9 will be the Tier 0 implementation of prisons. So, I'm personally excited for Prisons. I plan on playing as a smuggler. For me, it's some pretty cool gameplay. And I know that one of the things that CIG has talked about in the game is that escaping from the prisons is a possibility, right? But escaping from the prisons is only going to be a part of the gameplay. Once you escape from prison, you are going to need to remove your status, right? Or your criminal record. Obviously, if you escape from prison, not only is your previously existing criminal record still active, but you're probably going to get a bump to your criminal status or your criminal record because you escaped from prison. That's going to present obviously some bigger problems to you as far as moving around the verse. So the way you're going to go about removing your criminal status is by hacking in the game. Now, CIG has already begun the implementation of a tier 0 hacking mechanic in the game. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not particularly a fan of it. There doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of gameplay involved in it. Um, but it's the beginning of the system. I know they're iterating on it. It's tier 0, so they have to start somewhere. So where we are right now is the game Uplink OS, and Uplink OS is I guess the second version of the Uplink game. I've been playing this game for a little bit. And it's pretty cool, and I'm a pretty decent fan of the game and how they implement kind of hacking, and I think they do it in a kind of fun and immersive way. And I think it's a great basis for inspiration for CIG to do hacking in Star Citizen. Now I know a lot of people will look at this and say, "Look, Theron, this is nonsense. This is not hacking. This is just a mini game. Um, we should have to learn, Linux and use, programming language, and you should have to actually do hacking and do programming language and all this other stuff." And that's for people who I get it. You guys are super computer savvy and you guys are baller. I get it. I don't think that's realistic, and I'm going to tell you why. At the end of the day, this is still a game, and while we want it to be immersive, it has to be accessible to everybody. That doesn't mean there cannot be some skill component in there, and then that's not to say that perhaps that level of immersion can't come at the top end, but at the bottom end, people who want to just get into hacking need to be able to have fun doing it. Um, I look at mining. You don't need to be a geologist or a geochemist to know how to mine in Star Citizen. Now, some people may take issue with that, but it is what it is. Same thing with the medical gameplay. You don't need to know cardiology, pharmacology, trauma, internal medicine in order to be a medic or a doctor in the game. It's just not realistic. Likewise, I don't think it's necessary for players to need to know all this crazy stuff as it pertains to computers. So let's jump back into this game, and we're going to do a mission that is we're going to hack into a computer and delete key files, right? So this game you play as a hacker. That's the whole premise of this game, Uplink OS. So imagine that in Star Citizen you escape from prison. You need to get in and delete your criminal record. Um, there's actually missions in here to change a criminal record in the game. It's actually much cooler. Unfortunately, I'm not at that point in the game. Perhaps I'll make an update video when I get to that point, but I did want to kind of mess around with this for a little bit and show you guys this game and see what you thought. Okay, so we need to break into High Speed Labs internal services machine, find the file name HIG data 94514. It's 3 gigaquads. And we got to destroy this data and all the backups. So the first thing we are going to do is take a look here. Here's High Speed Labs internal services machine, right? Now, if we were to just try to break into this computer, we get caught almost immediately, right? So that's not the way to do it. So what we're going to do is we are going to use, we're going to bounce ourselves around a bit, right? So we're going to bounce ourselves out through some relays. And imagine this is us in a Stanton system, right? And there's a couple of different ways to do this. Perhaps you are in a Herald. And if you're in a Herald, you can remotely access um, a ComSat. And you're able to do this a little bit easier. If you don't have a Herald and you don't have access to that powerful um, system that the Herald is equipped with, unfortunately, you might have to actually fly to a ComSat and actually plug into the ComSat itself. So we're going to connect. Again, if we just tried to connect to High Speed Labs, we were going to get caught. So what you can do is you can purchase some software for your mobiGlas or the hacking tool that you have in there. Now, one of the I'm going to go through this in a little bit, but some of the tools that I have already, and I have very few, is a password breaker and a trace tracker. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to load these up. The cool thing is you only have but so much CPU power, so much memory in your game, so much memory on your mobiGlas, and if you want to load up, or if you want to be able to do more things, you are going to need to upgrade uh, your mobiGlas or the hacking terminal that you're using. Maybe it's like a data pad of some sort. But it seems logical that it's just going to be your mobiGlas, right? So we are going to move this over here just so it's a little bit easier for us to use. And we're going to start trying to break the password. Now, one of the things you can see is you'll see this start to tick up. Immediately, the system is trying to backtrace us. And that is one of the beauties of is bouncing yourself around through as many other systems as possible. Okay, so we are into the system. Here is the file that we're looking for. And again, we're only 17%. They've only achieved 17% of the ability to kind of track who we are and where we are. If this got to 100%, they would figure out who we are, perhaps where we're at. We would get a fine. They might alert the authorities, and it would lead to more trouble for us. So what we're going to do is we are going to delete this file. Now the other cool thing is that you can see is there are other files in here, right? So I don't know what these files are. They don't mean anything to me. Perhaps as a player, you might think to yourself, oh, High Speed Labs. I might want to hop on to, excuse me, I might want to hop on to the Galactopedia, look up High Speed Labs, find out what they do, and maybe I might find out they do something particularly interesting. And I might want to steal some of this data. I don't know what it is, but maybe if I copy it, I can find something useful that I can sell at some other time. Right. So right now I'm going to download this data. I'm not even sure if I have enough space to download it, and I'm not sure if I have enough time. Right. I'm at 63%. These guys are pretty close to figuring out who I am and where I'm at. I may have to actually disconnect from the system before this finishes. We'll see. And as we go, I think as they get closer, it ticks up. You can see how this is starting to tick in faster and faster and faster. I'm going to move this over to disconnect. might make it. I'm a hacker. Come on. Alright, we're out. Alright, that was close, right? Cool. So I downloaded the information, I got out of the system. Now, generally, what you would do is it's not just that easy, right? You would want to go back with some other tools and go in and delete your logs. Unfortunately, I don't have a log deleter on my installed on my MobiGlass in this instance. Because I don't have a log deleter, another player or an NPC might be able to come back into the system and backtrace and say, oh, you want to know what? We see the logs. We found out that this was Theron Shan, and we kind of scrubbed through it all and went back through, traced through all the bounced signals and bounced ports that he used, and we found out who it was. It was Theron Shan. We're going to alert the authorities, and they're going to put a warrant out for him because I didn't delete my logs, right? For me, I think that's really, really cool. I think that's a great mechanic. So let's do this. Let's hop into... Actually, let's do this first. Let's go to these guys. We're going to reply to them. Great. All right, cool. I got paid. They were happy with the job that I did. I deleted that file, and I got a little bump up in my I guess I call it a Neuromancer rating, which is cool. Neuromancer. This may be the same thing as in Star Citizen, where you have a particular reputation as a hacker, right? Now, obviously, this is just me hacking for in this particular instance, this was me hacking for myself. So I'm not obviously going to get an increase in reputation from myself for myself. But if this was a job that I was doing for someone else, of course, it would make sense that I did a job for a client. That client was happy with my work. They're going to give me a good rating. So now as I'm going out throughout the verse, perhaps I start building a name for myself as a pretty decent hacker, right? So now I get to go around and put my services out. But so I can go through and I can go into all sorts of different machines and access these systems and steal information and do all sorts of white hat hacker stuff and black hat hacker stuff, depending on what it is that I want to do. So we are going to, let's check out really quick. Let's go back to Internic. Actually, I want to jump back out of here. I'm sorry. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to log in here. This is a little system by which we can upgrade our MobiGlass, right? So you'll see these are all the different tools, right? A decryptor, decipher, which is great for breaking more complex passwords. Dictionary hacker, I have to look that one up. Password breaker, you obviously know what it is. Now, for instance, for some of these, it's not just it's version 1, version 2, version 3. The higher the version, the more complex of a system it can break through. And you can see what the description here is for it. Dictionary hacker. Great, right? Then there are different HUD tools. Now, for instance, before you saw that the system was tracing my progress. Well, I didn't know where it was in the process, but I could use this program, if I had it, to show exactly on this map where the HUD trace was. That's pretty cool. I could do that. Bypassers, if there's a firewall, a monitor bypass, proxy bypass is really important. I think if you're doing um, any kind of proxy server, right? Same thing. You see how expensive these things get. Here you go, a log deleter. That was the thing that I was talking about. Um, but you can see how it leaves an empty log behind. That may not be something that you want to do. You might want to modify an existing log instead. And if any of you have just read the recent lore post that was dropped in by CIG regarding, oh gosh, it was this had to do with Microtech. The person who got hacked, the criminal modified their existing log. They didn't delete their log, they modified it, which is really kind of really cool, right? So one of the things about this that I like is all the various different tools and things that you can do. You can obviously see land probe and a scan, spoofing, force your way into a local area network. The problem with this that I don't like is it at some point you make enough money where you just basically get the most baller version of every program, right? And then once you get the most baller version of every program, it what skill is there, right? So I think what needs to be done by CIG. I don't really know what needs to be done, but some methodology needs to be kind of tweaked on this model to make it so that, well, the richest person doesn't become the best hacker. There's no skill in there. It's just whoever has the most money is the best hacker. That's not a great game system. Um, it it will keep your interest for but so long. But hopefully you guys can see how this is the big, at least for me, I see this as the basis for a really cool and really robust um, hacking mechanic. Again, here's, you know, processors for your mobiGlas, your storage, modems, security, right? If we go back, there's gateway upgrades. Now these gateway upgrades are actually physical hard, you know, hard product servers that you run your product off of. I don't know if they would do that in for CIG and Star Citizen, but you can see how that works. So, and then you can see here I am way down at the bottom at 23, and the better you get, you know, you become better. Now the cool thing is you may be tasked to go after, you know, Ardenstrom. You may get a mission from an NPC or maybe even another player who got hacked by Ardenstrom, who says, "Hey, this person, I got hacked. I'm gonna give you access to my system. I want you to figure out who hacked me, and I want you to let me know who they are so I can put a bounty on them." Okay, great. I need to go into your system. I need to go through, try and figure it out, backtrace them and all that stuff. That's, to me, that's terrific stuff. It really excites me about the possibilities for the game. So guys, tell me what you think about this. I know this video ran a little on the long side. Actually, it's pretty cool. They actually have some news in here. One thing about this game that I don't like, that I will admit that will be solved by Star Citizen, is you can't in this game you could speed up time and pause it. Obviously in Star Citizen there is no opportunity to do that. You are just where you're just kind of stuck where you're stuck. Like, you know, time marches on and it stops for no man or woman. So, you know, be that as it may. Guys, I hope you like this video. Please leave a comment in Spectrum where I'm going to drop this video, and I hope to have a pretty robust discussion about this. See you guys in the verse.